Long time no see.
That's right. That's right. Well, first and foremost, and I give our SIDs a lot of the credit of really trying to help us organize doing Media Day in honor of Coach Wooden and having it on his birthday. So our hope is that moving forward, UCLA men's basketball will always have their Media Day on the 14th of October as at least a small way of honoring a great man and obviously a great coach. So happy birthday to Coach, and we're glad that Media Day and kind of the start of practice is happening on his birthday.
I saw on Twitter that you had breakfast at VIP's. With,
my first experience there.
How was that experience?
It was great. It was great, and it was good because Coach has got that those Indiana ties, and that was what was fun when I ordered crispy bacon. They knew exactly what I was talking about because it's the way Coach actually used the word brittle. So I didn't use the word brittle, but it was kind of the same. In the Midwest, you do like that crispy bacon. But it was a great experience. Had a lot of his family there, and spent some time with them, and see the booth that he set in, and all the pictures, and obviously a lot of memories and stories of him having an awful lot of breakfasts to start his day there.
Obviously, the comparisons are there. You've heard enough about you and John Wooden both being from Indiana, that sort of thing. Is that a comparison you've tried to embrace as much as you could, or have you had to distance yourself from it at all, or is that something that
Well, no, I would never distance myself to anyone like that. You can't be compared to that guy. Obviously we were from the state of Indiana. We both grew up in Indiana. I would tease him if he was here today that he went to the other school in Indiana. But we grew up in Indiana, and I followed him. He was somebody that I looked up to a great deal as an elementary kid. Not so much as a player because he was done playing, but that was in his heyday of coaching. And as I got into coaching and got to really know John Wooden the man, then it just solidified everything that I'd always known about him as a coach and those type of things, because of his character, his integrity, and who he was as a person more than what he was just as a coach. So, when you're the head basketball coach at UCLA, you can't help but obviously get some of those comparisons. But there is no comparison, whether it's me or whoever it is, trying to compare who's the head basketball coach here to him is that's a real difficult and probably unfair comparison because of just who he is. And I just feel honored, and it's a humbling experience. I've said it from day one that I grew up wanting to play for Coach Knight. And to have that dream come true, and as being an Indiana boyhood kid growing up, I never, in my wildest imagination, when I took over the head coaching job at Manchester College, a small Division III school in Northeast Indiana, did I ever think I'd be coaching at the same place Coach Wooden coached. So I feel extremely blessed.
In both your case and Coach Wooden's case, how much do you think that growing up in Indiana and having that Indiana basketball background at least somewhat has kind of defined you and what's happened since?
Well, when he grew up, and then later when I grew up, it was one class. So it was one state champ, and so I think what it really taught him early on, and I know it taught me early on, is that no matter how many high schools, there might have only been, I know when I graduated there was like 350 high schools competing for one state championship. When he grew up, maybe it was less than that. Maybe there was 250 or 300, but there was still in the state of Indiana just one state championship. So you learned through how to compete. You learned that there were a lot of people in the dance, but there was only one state championship. Now it's changed because now they have class basketball, and every year there's 4 or 5 state championships, just like there are in a lot of states throughout the country. So I think that kind of system really helped somebody like me, that I learned the competitiveness that not everybody gets the blue ribbon. There's going to be different shades of ribbons. There's only one champ, and I learned that at a very early age of competing to try to win. And that history in Indiana, I think, really helped me, and that was a lot of fun.
Personalities aside, are there any comparisons that you could say about Coach Wooden and Coach Knight?
Well, both big-time winners. They obviously there's differences in style and that type of thing, and I think that's the comparisons or the likenesses that I've been able to see in just my playing career and my coaching career, knowing them both. They knew who they were They were very comfortable with who they were, and they taught that system. They taught their style, and they really believed in it. And then because of that, their players bought into it. And the outside could disagree with why things were being done, or in recruiting, who's being recruiting, and they never wavered. They knew their system, they knew their style, they knew who they wanted to coach, and they never wavered from what they believed in. And that consistency and fairness to the players, I think, really showed in the way the players, if there was another comparison, knowing the guys that played here under Coach Wooden, and obviously knowing the guys that played under Coach Knight, you'd go through that wall for either man. That's how much the players really believed in the coaches.
Any update on Baylor Hamilton?
No, we're continuing that holding pattern. It's especially with Bale, because that's been in for a while. So we're waiting to hear word. Nothing's changed from last week, unfortunately.
What point do you have to move forward with the idea that you won't have him?
I hope not. I hope not for a while. That's the nice thing, Chris, is that we're early. It's the 14th of October. And that's what we were talking about as a staff, that come Friday's really supposed to be the official start date. If you look at the previous rules that I've had for 23 years, the weekend closer, the Friday closest to the 15th, we wouldn't be starting until Friday. So we're ahead of the game, but so are other colleges and universities. They're all ahead. All the other programs are ahead of the game too, as far as offense, defense, those type of things. But so we're not totally anxious. But with that said, as far as ahead we are, Juan is that far behind because he's not getting to do the things out on the court. Now Juan is doing a great job of watching the offense, watching the defensive principles, but it's like riding a stationary bike. It's not the same as the conditioning on the court. Neither is going through the office and defense against your teammates. So we need him out there. We need him to get him out there practicing. So he's got two things: obviously the eligibility, and trying to see when that's going to come down, and just making sure he's 100% healthy before he gets out there too.
I think I saw Zach with a boot on his foot last week. Is there an injury there?
No, he turned an ankle, but he wore that for. I guess he just wore it to class because he practiced the very next day. He didn't miss any practice or anything, and hasn't missed any. So I don't see a serious injury there at all.